one of the up-and-coming styles, or well, maybe it's not up-and-coming, but I'm seeing a lot more on the internet, is dragging the fly. And what that is you take a fly and you use a three-way split ring on it. So your fly is here. You have a weight, like a bottom bouncer or a bell sinker, on the bottom, connected here, and then connected to your line. So this fly sits back here and it just kind of goes along. So you bring it through the current. So if you're in a boat, you either troll slowly with it, or you, if there's a lot of current, you cast it out, bring it in. You can do this from shore. You can do this pretty much anywhere. I don't know if you can do it in a lake. I'm going to try to do it like this year and see if that works. Probably could work with a bottom bouncer. I don't see why that would be a problem, but yeah. So today I'm going to tie this fly, and it's pretty simple. So we just need to get ourselves a nice sturdy hook. I've got a 2-aught Mustad O'Shaughnessy hook that I'm going to use. I've got some white saddle hackle for the tail. I've got some blue and some white micro, it's like a tinsel type product. I've got bucktail in chartreuse and black and white, which will make up the body. And I have a bit of silver tinsel tucked in here as well, just to give it a bit of flash. I'm going to tie it first with a bit of white thread, just so that I don't get a black coming through on the white on the body. And then when I start to do the finishing head, I'll finish that up with some black thread. And then you can finish this off with head cement or some UV resin. You know, throw some eyes on there if you want. Alright, so let's get to tying this one up. So first things first, it's the Mustad O'Shaughnessy hook. It's a 2-aught. It's fairly big. I like it fairly big because, well, you can probably use whatever size you want, but with a fly like this hook is nice and sturdy, has a good bit of weight to it, and it would definitely float and flow quite well if there's a bit of current. I'm just going to set down a base here. So one of the things about a deceiver and some other steelhead flies is to make a little ball at the end here, which becomes your tie-in point. I'm just going to move this out a little bit here. Your tie-in point for your feather, your hackle on the tail of this. Okay. That should be good. So I went and already picked out a couple of pieces of hackle here. I'm just going to use white. I'm just going to put in where I feel it's going to look good on the fly. Strip off some of the excess that I don't need. Line that up in front. Tie that on. Get that to sit. You can see it kind of sticks out a little bit there. Second piece, just tie it, get it to be the same size. Clean it off a bit here. This one actually, all the feathers on it. I'll take a look, see which way this one wants to sit. Put it on. There we go. Just going to cut some of that off of there so you can see how it splits apart, splays it a little bit. That'll come in handy as it's in the water. It'll spread out a bit better and move a lot nicer. So I'm just going to tidy this up and come back and cut off some more of that. And away we go. So I'm going to come back in with the next part, which is just a little bit of tinsel. And you can put whatever color you want in here. I've got a gold silver color. I'll try and get the silver to show up. It's not that crucial. It just provides a little bit of interest in there. Sorry. Just come in and do some tight wraps in there. Back on track here. Just tighten that in. Okay, so there we are. Everything's looking good so far. So the next part I'm going to do is I'm going to tie in some body hair. So typically on a minnow, or a bait fish, the belly part is a lighter color. So we'll have no exception here. So I'm just going to get a little bit here. You don't need a whole ton of this stuff. A little goes a long way when it comes to deer hair, I find anyways, especially when dealing with a bucktail. So you just want to go, you want to pull out all the guard hairs and all the fluff. You don't need to go get a hair stacker or anything for that. It's just the natural way that it forms. So I'm just going to come in here and turn it upside down because I'm doing the belly. Kind of match it up with where that'll sit on the back. I'm going to come in with some loose wraps here, and then I'm going to tie it a lot tighter up here. And that'll just cinch all that hair in. It's a fairly messy tie, so you do end up with a fair amount of junk sitting around. So the reason why I didn't tie it really tight is if you pinch that deer hair really tight when you're tying it, it flares out and it doesn't sit properly with your fly. So I don't put a lot of pressure on it whenever I'm tying that on. But you can apply pressure up front on it, so you keep it loose here to keep the shape, and then you cinch it in here to keep it on the fly so that when a fish bites it, it doesn't pull all the hair out. Okay, so the next part is another layer of hair up top. If you got crazy hair, you can take that out. You don't want it to be all weird and gangly looking. So again, I'm going to come in, I'm going to do loose wraps to there, and I'm just going to start to tighten it down. Trim the waist out. Clean it up. Okay, so you can see that the hair isn't flaring out all over the place. So one of the things that I will add on here too is I've got some of this crystal flash, and I'm going to, I'll just put a little bit on here. Get some good pieces there. This is UV flash as well, so you'll be able to, you won't really notice it on the fly, but when it's in the water, it definitely comes out and shines. So I'm just going to pull that over the top and keep all of that there, cinch it in, just trying to keep everything all at the same length at the back there. Now I'm going to tie this in a sexy shad pattern, And so in order to do that, I'm going to have to come in with, this is a little heavier tinsel or a flash, and I'm just going to add the blue onto there. Cut it, stack it. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to set that right up on top of here. Bring that back. Bring forward. Bring the excess over here. Bring that back. And then tighten it down. Now you can see that the fly is starting to get its color going. Alright, so we'll just clean that up a little bit there. Alright, so the next color is going to be some chartreuse. So I have some chartreuse deer hair here. Again, you don't need a lot of it. So dig out all those guard hairs. I guess too, if you're really particular on having your threads match your hairs, you could at this point tie this off and then put on a chartreuse colored thread, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just put that on here, make sure I'm sitting on top as much as possible with this. I'm going to tighten that down just a bit so it doesn't fall off. Come in here, and I'm going to cut that. Make sure that we're still sitting as much on top as possible. And we're going to tighten that down and clean that up. At this point too, if you have any glue or head cement, anything like that, you could add that as well. I'm just going to put a little drop of head cement on here. Take out my lip finisher, and I will finish that. I'll come in and I'll clean up some of those hairs if needs be. I don't necessarily need to take them off right at this particular moment because I'm going to put the next color on and maybe I'll take them off anyways. Okay, so at this point I'm going to switch over to black. Tighten everything in, and we'll get the next and final layer of hair on. First, I'm going to just make sure that everything is sitting the way I want it to. Okay, that looks good. We can see some of the silver poking out for the body. Everything sits on top. Alright, I think we're doing well here. Just going to tidy the base of this up a little bit. Okay, things are looking good there. So let's try and get as long a hair as I can here, just simply because there's a fair amount of body to take care of on this one. Get that down as low as I can. Get rid of all the hair I don't want, because I don't need the head of this to be really bulky. Okay, let's line that up, see how things look. Just going to come in, I'm going to loosely wrap that on there, because I'm going to end up cutting a fair amount of that off. Probably should cut it off before I get to this point. But we'll see how we fare out here. Sometimes it spins around on you. At this point, that's not what we want to do. Oop, see, just like that. So let's get this back on track here. So before I tie this all down, I want to make sure that everything is sitting on here nice, and it looks like we're doing okay here. Let's go in, tidy up some of those hairs. Don't really need to, it's not that big a deal. Try and capture as many of those as we can in our wraps here. Okay, and that is looking mighty fine. So we'll just come in, finish this off with a whip finish. And we'll do it a couple of times here just to be safe. Alright. And like I was saying before, you can finish this off with a UV resin, epoxy. I'm just going to put on some head cement here. Just toughens it up a bit, because we all know that walleye are pretty toothy. Just make sure that we get it all around. Got a couple of stray hairs back here, but that doesn't matter. And that's pretty much it. Easy peasy. That's the fly. That was what we're modeling it after. And just going to rotate it a few times here so that the head cement doesn't make a big blob on the bottom. Tidy that up. And there you have it. You've got a nice, easy walleye fly. This can also be used for white bass as well. It'll probably be used for smallmouth bass, salmon. You could probably use this for an awful pile of fish, but this was specifically done for the drag technique when you're fishing out of a boat or off the shore to try and pick up white bass and walleye. Well, I hope that you found this informative. If you have, please give me a thumbs up. A like would be much appreciated. If you have any comments, please leave those for me as well. If you would like, please do subscribe. And if you want to see me tie another fly that you're interested in or have always wondered about how to tie, I'd be more than happy to do that. So there we have the walleye fly.